they're trying to stop this good game. We're gonna give them today, man. That's all that is. I'm telling you that right now.
Listen, man. Listen. First of all, listen. First of all, I want to shout out to everybody that's here with us. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm always gonna tell you, y'all could be anywhere else in the world, but y'all chose to be here with us. You know what I mean? One and only I Stand on That podcast. I'm hearing this shit everywhere, but I will tell you this. This morning got me feeling a whole lot like a Miami spring breaker, my guy. You know what I mean?
Man. For real, what you got going on over there?
They trying to kick us out. They trying to kick these spring breakers out of Miami, man. And I'm not sure what's going on with it. So let's start with this though. We gonna jump into the Miami spring break topic.
Okay.
But obviously we got to introduce ourselves. I want to make sure that I give a huge shout out, Mr. Daily Insight, Mr. Jamaica Man, Mr. 15 million job man. He ain't off work yet. That joker had to work overnight. He ain't off work yet.
Hey T, I'll send you the link. I'll send you the YouTube link, T, in a second. I got you. Shout out to T. That's
okay. Shout out.
That's Bert's older sister, man. Shout out to her. Bless up on that one, definitely.
Oh, bless up. Shout out to Gibbs Reserve. Shout out to
we're gonna do the plug in a minute. Oh, you
AG
already know.
Academy. We got all that rocking. But listen, it's your man, the one and only GJH Writer's Cramp. Mr. I've written a book, but I gotta write another 2 or 3 to make myself a real author type time. Mr. I got opinion on everything, but I ain't an expert on nothing. I'm just a regular dude feeling myself, but you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we want to talk about some things that are obviously going to be impacting our communities in a positive way. Yo, South Florida Sid, talk to these people, man.
What's up, man? It's your boy South Florida Sid. DJ, what up, homie? I see you. Thanks for joining the live, brother. It's your boy South Florida Sid, man. We're going to get some good game today. Man, we got some good topics, guys, and just kind of sit with us for a little while. We won't take too much of your time. But by the time it's all said and done, I think you guys are really going to love this one. As usual, we pay homage to somebody, man. Pay homage to the Queen, Janet Jackson behind me. Control album, one of the greatest albums of that time. I think it came out in 1984 or 86, one or the other. But a great album, man. And, hey, as always, what I sip on is Gibbs Reserve wine. This is my only wine I sip on. As you can see, I rep it all day, every day. I've thrown all my other wine in the garbage can. So if you guys ever need some wine or anything like that, come get at us, man. 4 different flavors, maybe more than that. But this is one of my favorites, sangria. So we always rep Gibbs Wine Reserve. Shout out to T, who's in the building. Shout out to Mr. Gibbs in the building. Sir Gene, what up? What up? I see you. And shout out to everybody who's joined the live one at a time, man. Let's get this going. We ready.
Listen. My man got every shout out in the world. I'm with you though. Listen, it's a whole lot of love coming from I Stand on That podcast to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
especially those that are doing right out there, man. Listen, I got the shades on today, man, because I was feeling myself, and then I was feeling kind of upset, and I didn't even want my eyes to be visible. Sid, listen, we talked about these topics this week. I'm about to come off the cuff a little bit, right?
Okay.
And I promise you it won't take me long while we waiting on Lump to get off of his overnight job. I don't know what this guy is. But listen, I got a real problem, right? And I don't know if you've heard about this. This is real live time, bro.
Okay.
My wife, Tia, just talked to me, bro, and was just telling me about this lady named Tiffany Henyard. You ever heard of her, bro?
I have not heard of her. Who is this? Another nobody who's made her bones and clout on social media. But tell me who this person is.
Apparently, Tiffany Henyard is she is the mayor of some town called Dalton.
Dalton from the Roadhouse movie with Patrick Swayze?
Listen, when I watch the videos, it looks like that kind of a town, my guy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But dude, apparently she's like the city councilman, the mayor. She holds several positions of power, apparently.
First, by the way, I got my AG Leadership Academy shirt on, so shout out to everybody in the Abergid Leadership Academy in the building.
Definitely shout out. Definitely big shout out. And matter of fact, listen, before we get too far, and while we're using the words Gibbs, right? And I see that Gibbs Reserve behind you.
Madeline, what's up? I see you. What's going on?
I have no more Gibbs Reserve. I am on E. I think we need to do something about this.
I got 8 cases that's getting delivered to me next week. So we'll take care of that. We'll make sure we take care of you 100%, my brother.
Oh, listen, well then I need you got 8 cases, I need 6.
Okay,
You know what I mean? I need 6. They're all mine. They're all mine.
I got
But
you. I got
listen,
you.
shout out to Ray Shelton though, because Ray Shelton apparently knows who Tiffany is, right?
Oh, okay. Ray said she's fine. Okay,
he
all
said
right.
she's
We
fine.
you know.
So
who is this Tiffany person? Who's the mayor of the Roadhouse movie?
So apparently, a bunch of employees are now suing the shit out of her because she's just kicking motherfuckers to the curb, right? They were wrongfully terminated without cause, without due process. She's using the people's money to go to Vegas. She said she was going to some conference because she wanted to bring back like mini malls and different businesses to the city of Dalton. She got like first class tickets. She spent like $20,000-$30,000 on this trip to Vegas, and nothing has come of it to benefit the town, right?
Okay.
One lady that worked for her was like, "Yo, I was on FMLA, and when I came back, they changed the locks on City Hall, and she was working in her car for like 6 months trying not to get fired type shit." I was like,
okay,
this is crazy, right? She lost pay. Like literally, I'm sitting up here and I'm like, dude, this cannot be what we're doing in these small towns when you got this kind of listen. And of course, I will say that she appears to be a Black American woman, right?
Okay.
Listen, I watched the video from when she was first kind of elected and put in these seats, and she looked like she could use a better hairdresser.
Okay.
Like she's a stylist, and she's been in that seat for a little while now. And boy, she looked like her and Beyonce share the same goddamn hairdresser now.
Well, what city is this? So basically, she sounds like. Is this extortion? Is this corruption in this small town? Because we do know
it sounds like she's the female version of Kwame Kilpatrick.
Oh, okay.
That's what it sounds like, my friend.
Okay,
but the difference is I've never heard about Kwame Kilpatrick mistreating his staff.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. She is going crazy right now.
Listen, man, you know. And Neil, what's up, my brother? I see you. Thank you for joining the live. Look, man, you know, when you're dealing with these small towns, you're dealing with people who are big fish, right? Big fish, small pond, can easily take advantage of things going on in small towns. If Kwame Kilpatrick was doing it in Detroit, you can only imagine what they're doing in these smaller towns. I didn't, you know, the Tiffany lady, listen, corruption goes on everywhere, unfortunately. You know, he who wields the power, wields the sword, all that good stuff, however the saying goes. Dude, but hopefully she's somewhere in somebody's prison, in jail.
Dude, she's getting sued by the church. You know what I'm saying? The local church is now suing the mayor of the city. Like when I tell you, bro, like there are business owners in that city that because they've said something negative about her, she's telling people to deny their business license on renewals. And she is really wielding the power in the really, really wrong way.
Gotcha.
So listen, I'm throwing that out there because at the end of the day, I'm being transparent. This is something that I want to go in depth on on another episode.
Okay.
But I would tell people honestly, if you don't know who Tiffany Henyard is,
I need to do my research.
You should look into it, man, because I would have never known. I don't know Dalton, you know, whatever.
Is it Alabama?
Okay. This township, I've never heard of it, but I will say, listen, it's something that people need to be paying attention to. And I just want to drop a quick nugget because I always stand on this.
Okay.
If you're in a position of power, you know, use it responsibly. Do right by people, man. Don't be out here getting like your ego fed up and doing wild and crazy stuff. I know that every politician I've ever met has probably done some real creative accounting.
Exactly.
But some of this other stuff, man, is very, very wild. Yeah. But anyways,
thanks for letting us know. So let's get to what topic you want to start first. We're gonna save the best for last, the racial wealth gap, because we're gonna get some good game, and we want to make sure everybody's on the live. So let's tackle it. I want to tackle the lady who hid the money from the husband because I got a lot to say on that one.
Well, hold on. Remember, we we still supposed to talk about these spring breakers, right?
Oh, you want to talk about spring breakers first? Who's out here?
I just want to talk
fighting.
about the spring breakers real quick.
Okay, let's talk about the spring breakers. Okay.
Let's talk about these spring breakers because that's going to be a quick conversation.
Yes.
What did they say?
City of Miami is kicking everybody out of there, and they got
they're
tanks
kicking
coming down Ocean
them out of there.
And AK-47s.
We can debate the rightfully so or not, right? Like the whole the whole when you talking about putting a curfew on the city of Miami Beach,
yes,
you are talking about disabling several businesses.
Yes.
Those clubs live and die on these people being in the club until 6 a.m.
Exactly.
South Florida Sid, you and I both know that already,
yes.
right? So here's what I'm saying, right? These clubs live and die on these people being able to come in these clubs, spend some money, have a good time.
Exactly.
But the problem we have is that for the last 3 years, people have been both living and dying in the club and on the beach.
On the beach. Unbelievable.
There's shared accountability. Listen, spring breakers, you want to have a good time. I don't know who doesn't want to get back to the dorm room, right?
Exactly.
Who doesn't want to get back on campus? I don't understand what we're doing, right? With this whole, I'm going to kill you. I don't know if these are, I don't know if these are locals. Are these locals that are joining these college students?
Look, these kids
is like a version of what movie was that? Was it School Days?
Yeah,
you go to
man.
The chicken shack and the little locals are like, college boy.
This generation doesn't know how to have fun anymore. This generation doesn't man, we were going to spring break 20 years ago. We weren't trying to fight. You didn't get with somebody on social media and say, hey man, you know, soon as I see you in the lobby of the Fountain Blue, when I'm paying $800, you know, I'm meeting you at the pool at the Fountain Blue. Okay, so you just paid $800 a night at the Fountain Blue. You gonna fight somebody at the pool? They're gonna kick your butt out of there, right? And take your money, by the way. You know, I just don't understand. So then they started doing it in Miami. So Miami kicked their butts out. Then they's like, well, let's go to Fort Lauderdale. You know, Fort Lauderdale, surely the W at $600 a night on the beach will let us fight. Fort Lauderdale kicked their butts out of there too. So, you know, I just don't get it, man. And, you know, spring break's coming up for Broward County and Dade County, I think, as well. Guys, you know, we're not trying to preach to you young kids out there. Go out there, have fun. Don't get arrested. Don't ruin your whole life. You know, don't go out there and fight anybody. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all here to have fun. If you have not seen the Freaknik doc, right, all good things unfortunately come to an end is from our own doing. If you have not seen the Freaknik documentary on Hulu, please check out the Freaknik documentary on Hulu. It is so many parallels between how Freaknik in Atlanta in the 90s got ended and how what is going on right now in Miami and Fort Lauderdale as far as, you know, them kicking their butts out. Now, they're going to send them your way in a minute, bro, to Orlando. Let them fight up there in Orlando, in downtown Orlando. Let them go and do that as far as...
And listen, and shout out to Orlando being voted like the #1 destination recently, right? So I know it's coming. And here's the reality, bro. Like, listen, I will tell you this, right? First of all, if you haven't watched that Freaknik documentary,
yes, you need to watch it.
You need to watch it.
Yes.
If you are under the age of 35, you might not want to watch it because you might catch your mama doing something.
Yeah, man.
Listen, I've seen it. I saw a few familiar faces, my friends. I saw a few. Listen. So, and listen, and from what I heard too, listen, not to digress, the ADHD is winning today. But listen, not to digress, Luke is saying, listen, Luke is saying he has video footage from Daytona and from all of these other places, and he's about to drop several documentaries, which is going to have a lot of exclusive footage. So if you were out there, and this is a message to the current spring breakers, understand that 20 years from now, somebody's going to have a video of you out there pulling your breasts out or doing something crazy, right? And you might want to make sure that you are taking some sort of protective measures because you don't know who you're going to be 20 years from now.
Exactly.
So be careful out there. But this is a message to the city too, right? I just want to throw this out there, right?
Throw it out there, bro.
When you are the city of Miami Beach, right, and you live and die on the nightlife, right? I know that we have to do whatever we have to do to save lives, but we also have to find a way to protect the businesses that are investing in our cities and that make our cities exactly what they are, right? Miami Beach is Miami Beach because of the nightlife, because of a little bit of that rah-rah, right? And so we just got to make sure that we're making the best decisions possible. But let's start with something real simple. Stop stabbing, shooting, killing, and stampeding each other. Like,
exactly.
Can we start with that? So, man, come on, man, get your shit together.
Go ahead and have some fun, man. Hey, go out there and have fun. Hey, nobody like to have more fun more than I do. I had hella fun in spring break back in the day, but I never got into a fight. I always made it home safe. So at the end of the day, guys, hey, from your two big unks, big cousins, whatever you want to say it, South Florida Sid, my man G Money, we want y'all to have a good time this week on spring break and make it back home safe, definitely. All right.
And listen, and if Junior Harrington is out there anywhere,
Jaden, what up, homie?
You better stay safe. Stay real safe, man. Guys. Stay real safe, especially my daughter, the princess. So we got to do all of that. But listen, I don't want to beat that up. We've talked about this. This has actually been a conversation every year for the last 5 damn years. Get y'all shit together. I am actually interested in getting to the South Florida Sid top 10.
I want to get to the top 10. Who's ready for a South Florida Sid top 10? All right.
Let's go.
Last week's top 10, man, there was a lot of controversy. I think there's going to be a lot of controversy on this one as well. So your boy, South Florida Sid, top 10. Now, here are the top 10 things that our generation enjoyed that this generation of kids will never be able to experience, right? So you got me. Our generation experience that this generation of kids will never experience. Number 10, cheap fast food. Who remembers when you could go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac for 99 cents, get a Whopper for $1.29. You could go into Taco Bell with $5 and walk out with 5 hard crunchy tacos, a soda, and 2 quesadillas and a chalupa. But those days are over. You go into McDonald's now and you're going to spend $15 on a Big Mac meal and a large Coke and a large fry, man. Those days are over.
And listen, and not just that, right? I just want to throw it out there. Not just that, right? You're going to walk out of there with buyer's remorse, too, because they've told you that everything that you eating in them motherfuckers is unhealthy. Yes. Back then, we had a guiltless pleasure because we didn't know how poisonous any of that was.
Exactly, man. So, hey, cheap fast food, man. But we miss it, though. I miss cheap fast food. Number 9, hanging at the mall all day. Yo, what are these kids doing? We used to go to the mall when it opened at about 12, 1 o'clock. We'd have $20 in our pocket, right? We had no money. Parents wasn't giving us no money. We had $20 in our pocket, but everybody would meet at the mall. You meet your girl there. You meet your girlfriend there. You got your homies. She had her homegirls. And y'all just walk around the mall, going to the movies, jump movies where you go pay for one movie, but then you go see the next one after that. You just jump around. And you might see 4 movies in one day. And you just hang at the mall all day. These kids don't like going to the mall. And unfortunately, that's why malls are closing. You don't see mall cops anymore because they don't need them anymore because there's nothing going on in the mall. And all these kids are buying stuff online. But, man, hanging at the mall all day. Shout out to everybody who used to hang out at Aventura Mall, 163rd Street Mall. Used to hang out at Sawgrass, Broward Mall. Used to hang out at the malls when we were in high school back in the 90s and 2000s. Shout out to y'all, man, definitely. Number 8, I think we're going to get some good ones on this one. Gossip talk shows. Yo, remember Ricky Lake, Jerry Springer, Jenny Jones, Geraldo, Maury Povich. Yo, Ricky Lake used to run the world back in the 90s. These gossip talk shows in the summertime, it would be for 1 hour long, and we would have a great time watching every single minute of it. Am I right, man? Come on, man.
No,
Ricky Lake was
100%.
there, right?
I didn't even know that Ricky Lake was anybody before Ricky Lake had a talk show, right?
Exactly.
I was like, who is this lady? I just thought she was a random woman that got a talk show. These people were actually supposedly famous before the talk show, but the talk show, listen, and I'm not going to lie to you, right? Listen, don't forget things like Jerry Springer.
Yes.
Like, don't forget, like, all of that. Listen, even when Wendy Williams had her show and it was really, really actually live and popping. Right?
Exactly.
Like those talk shows back in the day were really actually Arsenio Hall.
Yeah. Oh man, those days are over, man. They missed it. They missed out on it, man.
Well, and they missed out on it, but at the same time, what we used to have to wait for, right? The anticipation, the build up, right? This interview with Eddie Murphy, this interview with whoever, they just get to open up Instagram and it's right there for them, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the biggest problems and one of the things that I see in the new generation, that we fought so hard to give them all of this stuff.
Yeah,
we didn't know that we were giving them all of this instant access, what we were going to be doing.
Man. Yeah, man. Hey, shout out to all the gossip talk shows from the 90s, man. We miss y'all.
Shout out.
Number 7, Saturday morning TV lineup. Shout out to Ray Shelton. This one out there. Saved by the Bell, California Dreams, Hang Time. Yo, who didn't want to live in California, even though there was only one black person in both shows, in all 3 shows combined? Shout out to the brother who's playing the drums on California Dreams.
I wasn't rushing to get to Cali, but I did enjoy Saved by the Bell. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Saved by the Bell, man.
Enjoy that. What was it?
California Dreams? Yeah. Hang Time?
You remember Hang Time?
Hang Time? Yeah. Oh, man. Saturday morning lineup was crazy.
Cartoons was always the best, though, bro.
Of course.
Cartoons was always the best part of the Saturday mornings. I don't care what nobody says. Voltron.
Yes.
He-Man.
Man. Dude. So shout out to these kids who are asleep in the morning by that time. They don't even get up till 1 o'clock. Number 6, just being outside. Yo, these kids want to stay indoors all day, every day, all night, and stay on social media, playing video games. Yo, we used to be outdoors playing sports, just out and just being out in the field. I think that's why our generation likes being out so much. Because we grew up, our parents would not let us sit in the house, running up the electricity. You had to go outside. You had to be doing something, man. These kids do not go outside, man. It's crazy,
Absolutely. Yeah. Wait. Somebody put in the chat that X-Men is coming back. Who is that?
Anil, my man Anil. What's up, homie?
Details on that.
X-Men's coming back, man. Okay. Hey, we gotta get some details on that, Anil. Thanks for that nugget, man. It's my brother from Detroit, man. Good brother out there.
For sure.
Yeah, number 5. Now we're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, and Atari. Come on, man. These were classic game platforms. I mean, when the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis and the Game Boy came out, it was crazy. Everybody had to have it, man. Shout out to those game consoles that ran the 90s, man, 100%,
1,000%. Listen, and to be honest with you, it didn't even matter. Like if you ended up getting like Atari like after everybody else, it didn't even matter. Like it was just fun. You just had it, man. Like having your friends come over and everybody had the wired controllers and they got to sit right next to the TV.
Yeah, man.
That shit was different back then.
It's crazy, man. These kids won't know. They'll never understand how much Super Mario Brothers meant to us. But shout out to all the game consoles. Number 4, CDs, cassette tapes, CD players, and Walkmans. Come on, man. You remember when you had to go to the CD store to get the CD. You had to stand in line. You went to the CD store and these kids, they don't get it. Jay-Z, TLC, Outkast, if you were into Backstreet Boys or what, Backstreet Boys, all of them came out the same Friday. So you would have to go to the CD store and spend $100 on CDs in one day. There was no streaming. There wasn't any of that. And you'd rock that CD forever, man. Man, these kids, they got streaming and all this stuff. They listen to an album one time, they never listen to it again. You used to listen to one album 6 months straight, man. We miss all that. They never will experience it.
I remember FYE and Blockbuster.
Yeah, shout out to Specs Music, FYE. Shout out to all of them, man. You used to hang out there.
That was an experience back in the day, bro. That was an experience, man. My guy. Yeah.
Shout out to them. Number 3, the Michael Jackson phenomenon. Let me tell you where I'm coming from with this. These kids nowadays have full access to their favorite celebrities, right? Imagine if you only saw your favorite celebrity once a year and that was it. You only saw them at the American Music Awards or the Grammys. Other than that, you never even knew they existed. Michael Jackson, you never saw him. See, social media has basically allowed this generation to see Drake every day, Cardi B. You think these are your friends. No, these are not, that's how often you see them. You think you're cool with them. We never saw Michael Jackson. You never saw him. When you go on YouTube and you see these concerts and people are being carried out, they are crying, you losing their minds. It's because he really exists. They're like, oh my God, he's here. You never saw Michael Jackson. There will only be one Michael Jackson phenomenon. It would never happen again. Forget about it. A time period when at the end of the day, when you only saw somebody when they wanted you to see them. Man, shout out to Michael Jackson, man. They'll never be able to experience an artist like that again, man. I'm sorry.
Listen, and listen, and don't get it twisted. They have some variation or some version of it, right? Because Beyonce tried to mimic that style, right? Beyonce, I don't know what happened where Beyonce is now like just dropping the album anytime. Like if anyone else that might be popping or might be lit is getting ready to drop something, Beyonce just is like, let me fuck that shit up. Right? Just drop a country album out of nowhere real quick. Yeah, fuck up your life real quick. But I remember when it was like Michael Jackson would wait 4 or 5 years to drop
5 years.
He would let his music ride out for like 4 or 5 years. He would exhaust every penny of that, right? And we're definitely suffering, to me, with this thing where everybody can just go in the house, go in the closet, and just record an album and drop it real fast. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We're missing a lot of the. We're missing a lot of that right now.
Yeah, bro. And Viv, great word. The mystique is gone. The mystique is totally gone, man.
For sure.
Shout out to Vivian. Number 2, we getting down to number 2. Come on, these kids. They don't have any cool dance moves. Come on, remember the Cabbage Patch, the Bobby Brown, the Running Man, the Soul Train line, the Kid and Play. You go to some of these parties. You go somewhere, and these kids are standing on the wall on their phones. You used to have to go to a party and dance all night long. If you could not dance, the girls would not like you. You were done. Get out of here. You're done, man. These kids, man, they don't know about these dance moves we used to have, man. When Bobby Brown was doing then he did a little split, came down with it, and every little step video came back up, and then they did the Kid and Play. Come on,
I literally just saw a video this morning, bro.
Yeah, you still there? We're gonna give
dancers of 80s.
Yeah.
The true dancers of the 80s were Prince, were Michael Jackson, Bobby Brown, and MC Hammer, right?
Yeah.
Hammer. Yes. Oh my God, those three were killing it in the 80s and the 90s, bro.
Yes. Hey, man, shout out to the true dancers. You know, they're gone. They'll never come back. You know, but we miss you, man. Every once in a while, I'll throw on an 80s New Jack Swing mix. You know, and I get my little thing on. You know, we'll do a little of that. You know, but other than that day is dead. Now we down to our number 1.
Listen, don't get it twisted though. Let's not because listen, I'm not a huge TikToker or anything like that. Listen, I've never even posted on that thing, but I am nosy enough to scroll through it, right? And I have seen, dude, a lot of those 90s dances are coming back, bro. Like they're doing them in TikToks, and you know they're trying to do their own variations of them, but. You know, listen, this whole thing, like, I'm not a fan of it, but at least they're hitting the crates and they're checking it out, right? At least
man. So here we go. Hey, my man Lump hit me and said, "Listen, I might not be on, but I can cue up the number 1. Drum roll, please." And the number 1 thing that we experienced in our era that they will never experience. Go ahead and drop that thing. Hopefully it works this time. Is the music on? Please. Okay, well, you see it. House parties. Man, house parties are dead. There are no more house parties. These kids don't know what a house party is. These kids don't know about going to school on a Friday. Somebody's mama having to go visit their auntie in Lakeland because she's sick. So he's telling everybody in the school, yo, come to my house. Everybody's like, okay, cool, let's go. Let's do it. Let's go to your house. Somebody brings a DJ set. Somebody bribes their big sister to get them some alcohol to bring the beer. Everybody comes to the party. You know, you dance, you have a good time, you wild out, right? And then on top of that, guess what? At the end of the day, when the slow song comes on, the lights go out, man. Everybody's just, hey, we with your little, your little thingy thing, you know what I mean? They put on, you
Oh,
know,
shout out to the Jungle Juice.
Jungle Juice.
Somebody
You know,
put the Jungle Juice in there. Yeah.
depending on what area you in. Hey, Anil, I see you. Hey, Anil, Janny's out there somewhere. Janny, what up? I see you. They might put on, you know, Tender Love by, you know, the Force MDs, you know. Or if you in our area, hey, they're gonna put on Jodeci's Forever My Lady, right? You 16 years old, whispering a girl's ear like, yeah, I want to be Forever My Lady.
Don't forget about that. Don't forget about that Luther dude. Don't
Oh
forget
yeah,
about that.
man.
This world were mine,
man. Those were the days. Hey, you get mad at the one guy who wants to turn the kitchen light on. Everybody's in the dark, getting real close. Then the one dodo brain turns the kitchen light off. Man, turn the light off. You know. Hey, man, house parties are over. Now, I will say this to the younger generation: it's not really your fault. Ring cameras ruined everything. You can't do a DAM thing anymore, DAMN thing anymore, without your parents knowing within 5 seconds. Ring cameras, all this technology they have, impromptu house parties are over. But shout out to them. RIP to all the cats back in the 90s and 2000s used to have the crazy house parties, man. Those are the days, man. Hey, and that's your top 10.
Definitely a huge shout out. Definitely a huge shout out to the house parties. I would tell you, I almost killed Jada and Jaden when they did their high school graduation party. Those jokers had more than 200 people circulating through my house.
Yeah, man.
I thought it was nice house party. I thought it was 1985 again, dude.
Yeah, man. Hey, that was a good house party. Salute to Jada and Jaden on that one. That was a good house party. That was old school right there. You know.
And Jodeci definitely had the party lit at 1 a.m.
Yes.
Oh,
forever, my. Hey, you 16 years old telling a girl, hey, forever, my lady. Forever? No, well, at least until my curfew at 12:30. Then I gotta go. You know what I mean? But for now, you forever, my lady.
Hey, shout out to the out of town cousin, right? I want to shout out to the out of town cousin that used to come to the crib.
Yeah, man.
You always got some leeway because the out of town cousin was at the house.
Yeah, so man.
Hey, listen, man, I got my cousin. He coming in from out of town. Yo, we got to do it right. You go to your friend's house. They have a party.
Yeah,
listen, man, the out of town cousin definitely always made it fun, bro. I enjoyed that, man.
But thank you. Shout out to the top 10, man. We hope you enjoyed it. If you got some comments, throw some comments in there, man. We love it, you know.
Shout out to the South Florida Sid top 10. Another good variation, another good rendition of the top 10. If you got ideas for the top 10, if you like, hey, listen, Sid, man, hit me up with this, hit me up with that. I want to definitely get some topics out there, man.
Man,
he's trying to do his thing on this right now. Listen, this is just coming from his soul, baby. Y'all give us something to go with too, man.
Yeah, man, give us some ideas. All right, you ready to get to it? All right, I think we got some people in there, man. I think we're ready to get to some controversial topics.
Well, listen. So here's the next topic, right?
Go ahead. You want to introduce
the next topic is supposed. Listen, and this is where we are, right? And I say right or wrong, when we look at the ticker, it says right or wrong. But there's a video, and matter of fact, I'm gonna throw it in the chat, right?
Okay.
Just because you guys we're all learning that every time we play a video, we don't know if we're gonna have a problem with it or not, right?
Exactly.
But there's a video where someone writes into a local podcast. Shout out to 8 at the Table, and basically this woman is saying, "Hey, my husband has been working. He's paying all of the bills. I don't work at all. I've been taking some of his money and I've been putting it to the side, and it's my escape money, right? If I ever have to get the hell out of Dodge, this is my escape money, right?" And he's like scrambling because he wants to try to fulfill all her wishes. He's trying to pay for everything. He's paying all the bills. He's trying to take her on vacations, and he goes and gets a second job. He's talking to her. He's telling her how stressed and tired he is. And meanwhile, she's got $30,000-$40,000 in escape money, right? And so she writes in and she says, "Put your glasses on." She writes in and says, "Am I wrong for not giving my husband the escape money, right? And making him go and get another fucking job and bust his ass." Dude, South Florida City, what the hell is wrong with these people, man?
I got some stats for you, and this is gonna get really interesting.
Oh shit! Stat game.
This is around hiding finances. Hey, listen, I know females and males out there. Y'all better get ready for some of these stats. 43% of women say they hide money from their spouses. 43%. 28% of the people think that financial cheating is worse than physical cheating. Right? 19%, this is man and woman, 19% of the people out there have a secret savings account that nobody knows about. So 1 in 5 people have a secret savings account. 1 in 5 people, 20% of people also say they have a secret credit card, right? And the 30 and this is real interesting for my 30 and under crowd out there. The 30 and under crowd is more likely to have financial secrets from their spouse than any other generation. So watch out for these 30 and under crowd, man. They're hiding money out there. Let me say this. When I did hear about this story, right? And we throwing that away. I did hear about that story. And let me tell you something right now. This man went to work every single day. My brothers out there, all my brothers out there, work with me on this one. You go to work every day. You get up 7 a.m. You know, you slave, you work hard. You got bills. You're stressed out. You know, you're fighting in traffic. You know, your wife is still asleep. Now remember, we're using the example that of the TikTok thing. Your wife is asleep in bed.
Yeah.
You go to work, gotta argue with your boss, everything. Get off at about 6 o'clock. You come home tired, stressed out. It's probably the first of the month. You're like, man, mortgage is due. I got a lot of bills. Man, my whole paycheck is gonna be gone by the time I even pay my bills. So you get home, you open the door. Your wife, hey, how was work, honey? Oh, it was good. Okay, I'm tired. You go to your bar, fix yourself a drink of Gibbs Reserve wine. You do some Gibbs Reserve wine and a good cigar, and you just want to be left alone. Meanwhile, your wife comes in with a stack of bills. Hey, by the way, I know you had a bad day today. However, the mortgage is due, the FPL bills due, the Comcast bills due, the kids' daycare is due, health insurance is due, car insurance is due, and all she's doing is handing you this is a stack of bills she's handing you, right? Now imagine finding out that this same person who sees you slaving, stressed out all the time, has a spare 50 grand somewhere at a bank account that she's not telling you about. Let me tell you what I would do. South Florida Sid. I'm divorcing her immediately.
Right away.
I'm packing my bag and I'm leaving. I'm divorcing immediately. Then I'm going to press charges: fraud, embezzlement, grand larceny, assault and battery on my bank account. We're gonna make that stick somehow. Assault and battery on my bank account. So we're gonna make that stick, right? And I'm coming for my 50 grand and let's do the pants off. Let me tell you guys something. Hiding money in either direction when you see your spouse is stressed out, barely making, is the most low down thing you could ever do. It is unforgivable and indefensible. And that's what I got to say on that, man.
Listen, let me throw some coins in the pond. Right. Let me go back to the mall days when you had the wishing well in the pond in the middle of the mall and you're just throwing your quarters in there, making your wishes. Let me tell you something, man. If you are in a relationship and you feel the need to hide escape money, you probably shouldn't be in a relationship anyway, right? So let's start on the premise of that, right? Now, does that mean that you have to give every penny that you earn to your spouse? No, I'm not going to sit here and say that. That's how some relationships work. I will tell you that listen, in the situation I'm in, my wife has her own business and she's able to earn her own money, right? But at the end of the day, if I found out that my wife was taking my paycheck and taking 25% of my check or whatever percentage of my paycheck she was taking to put it in her escape fund, not money that she went to work and earned, right? Not money that, and here's what I want to be very clear, right? I'm not talking about somebody having a spending money or a spending account.
Exactly.
That at the end of the day, we doing what's in the best interest of the family, or even if you're just saying, hey, I want to treat myself to something. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about you have an escape fund. This is about me. And just in case you piss me off one day, I want to be able to get the fuck out of here and live the life of luxury off of your paycheck.
Your paycheck.
Not some shit I went to work for, right? And I earned, and let me throw this to the side Not the little envelope that you have underneath the mat in your car, your driver's mat under your car, where you got a couple $100 in there just in case you need to get a hotel room.
Exactly.
You're talking about you took my paycheck.
Yes.
You fucking put some money to the side for your own motherfucking benefit of escaping.
50 grand. And
Bro.
here's the thing that got me. You know, man, life is tough enough. Woo, man. The first of the month is tough, boy. I mean, you got to, you know, and listen, the bill man don't have no sympathy for nobody. Right?
Nobody.
And you see your man struggling. The guy was struggling. And people in the live, this is not me just making this up. The guy was struggling. Like, she saw him like struggling, barely making it. You know, he just stressed out, drinking. You know, as long as he's drinking Gibbs Reserve wine, by the way. But
as long as you're drinking Gibbs Reserve wine and you're doing it responsibly.
And we're doing responsibly, exactly. You know, he's drinking, he's smoking, and she saw him. She had 50 grand, $50,000. All she had to do is be like, "Hey, honey, you know, here's, let me help you out. I see my man struggling." That comes into the. She even loved this guy, man. Oh my God, and let me tell you,
she doesn't love him.
Agreed.
Dude, there's no way. Listen, let me tell you something. There is no way in the world you can convince me that you love somebody, even if you see him sitting there, he's saying, "Listen, I am dying, bro. Listen, can we at least downsize?" Right? Because if you click on that link that we put in the chat, right?
Everybody, please check out the link. We get a chance.
About downsizing. He was like, "Listen, let's downsize so I don't have to work so hard, and we can enjoy and do this." And she's like, "Hell no, we ain't downsizing. And you keeping my escape, and you keeping the escape money."
Exactly.
Bro, you're not. You don't love me. You cannot love me and then treat me the way you treat me. Right? That's just impossible, bro. And listen. Shout out to Vivi Mo. I see Vivi Mo. She's got a lot of interaction engagement.
Yeah, we love Vivian.
I hear what you're saying, Viv, but you know what? If you're going to work every day and that's your bread and you want to put your bread to the side and you're in a relationship with a guy that's cool with that, then that's cool, right? Yeah. I get it. Everybody has to have, like, you know, nobody wants to be down in the dirt, right? And just has no way to get away. Right, I don't want to have to call my mom and be like, "Man, me and my wife having a bad day." Right?
Exactly.
No, there's always got to be a way to just kind of safely evacuate if you need to, right?
Exactly.
But it don't need to be 50 grand of my money.
Amount of money. Well, here's what I'm gonna stand on with this, and we're gonna make this short because we got to get to the topic at hand. I think we got a lot of people in the room, and they're ready to get to the good game. Here's where I stand on with that topic. All the fellas out there, all of my ladies out there, if you are in this situation where you find out that somebody's hiding money from you as an escape plan, knowing that there's financial distress going on, you need to leave them ASAP. I'm sorry. That is, for me, that is you. I'd rather you just physically cheat on me than to take my money, right, and try to do all that to me.
I'll be honest
with you. Where I'm at. I'd rather
just cheat on me. Just leave me. Take the 50 grand.
Or leave me. Well,
just take the 50 grand and just leave.
You know, if you have two guns, you know, which one? But yes, just leave me. So I stand on the fact that this is the most low down thing you could do. I'm hoping anybody out there who's a subscriber, a friend of the show is not doing this. We don't co-sign this, you know, in the I Stand on That podcast community. Hey, man, you know, being partners, being together is about a financial commitment as well. You know, each one teach one, everybody in it together. And you can make it through. Because sometimes times are great and times are bad. And when times are bad, you need that extra person helping you out. So that's what I stand on.
Well, and listen, and so let me go ahead and just stand on something, right? Here's what I stand on. I stand on, at the end of the day, we've talked about these relationship topics a few times, right? And I've said this before, right? Being in a relationship and making a relationship last is the commitment to the original decision, right? And so if I'm saying to myself that I'm going to be with you for better or worse, through thick and thin, better, rich or poor, then there's no need for an escape fund, especially when it's that fund of my earnings and not your own, right?
Exactly.
All I'm saying is, if you want to be in a successful relationship, then you're going to have to start to understand some very basic principles, right? No one's bigger than the group, Otis. No one's bigger than the group, David. And David Ruffin is, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. Listen, if you are David Ruffining your relationship, right, then you need to not be in a relationship, right? Don't do that, man. Don't have these expectations of what somebody's supposed to give you, right? Don't have these expectations of what I owe you. That is not the way the shit works, bro. That is not. It is a marriage. It is a combination of people coming together. Yes, we are both still two individual people, but we're trying to live our best lives together. And if all I'm gonna say is this: if you do some shit like this, you are the scum of the earth to me.
Yeah, man.
Real talk.
Yeah,
like if you doing that, bro, $50,000 of my money that you are hiding, and then you got me slaving, and you won't adjust your lifestyle. You don't care about me. You don't care about me, and so I stand on. Get your ass on then.
Yeah,
just
man.
leave.
Yeah,
just
man.
get your ass on, man. Go on ahead.
Go both ways. Go both ways. Hey, man, great topic. You know, shout out to that brother, man. Good luck to him. Hey, listen.
Hopefully he's watching 8 at the table, and now he knows what she's doing.
Exactly.
His ass is. Hopefully he done packed her shit up. Because you were a nice guy, Sid. You nice as hell talking about something. You'll leave. No, you gonna get your ass out my house.
Exactly. No, you're right.
I've been paying the fucking bills in this bitch.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Get your ass out my goddamn house. You ain't even my wife right now.
Yeah, man. Well, the time is here. Hey, listen, I want everybody in the live, go tell your friend, go get somebody, man. We are getting to the topic at hand. We're going to be talking about this racial wealth gap. And, man, we're going to be spitting some good game on this. So, you know, if you're in the younger crowd, get your pens and papers out, man. We're going to be giving you some good history, and we're going to give you some good stats. Poe, what up, homie? What up, baby girl? I see you. Thanks for joining. We're going to be giving some good game. So I'll start with this. I'm going to start with giving you some stats around the average wealth by race, right, in America as it stands today, right? So we're going to start off with the highest, right? The Asian community, this is all verified, right? This is all verified through Pew Research Center and some other statistics. If anybody wants me to send them the links to the stats at any point, I will. We're going to start with that.
Well, just and Sid, and I know you're introing the topic. Yeah. I just want to be very clear that the article is current as of December 4th, 2023, right?
Yes.
So that is the most recent data that we can actually pull.
Yes.
So if you want to be a stickler and you want to hold us to it, it is 2023 research, December of 2023. Go ahead, brother.
So here's the average wealth by race of a U.S. household. Asian communities, number one, $537,000 worth of wealth as of 2023. Second place, white community, $285,000 worth of wealth in the white community on average. Next up, Hispanic community. It's a big, huge drop, $62,000 in wealth in the Spanish community as of 2023. And then, unfortunately, in the Black community, $44,000 on average median wealth in the U.S. as of 2023. So you see the gaps. Now, here's where we're going to go. We're going to take a step back, if you will. Go ahead.
Hold on one second, because I just want to ask you a question, South Florida Sid. Clarity.
Yes. What is wealth, right? We're going to ask that. What is wealth?
No, well, I wanted you to define wealth, and then I also wanted to touch on this is actually after the 2019 through 2021, 2022, explosion, right? Exactly. Like there was a huge increase in all of these racial groups and their income and how much net worth they have and what is wealth, right? Like, so I just want to make sure that when we're talking, I want people to understand that you said the Black household was what?
$44,000 in wealth.
And wasn't that like a 70% increase from what it was before? It was something.
It was in the 20s and 30s. Yes, it was very sad. So what is wealth? So people are like, well, what is, South Florida said, what do you constitute as wealth? Your home, right? Assets, stocks, right, are the biggest forms of wealth. And minimum debt, right? So if you got a house worth $1 million, but you have no debt, right? They calculate all that stuff. So that's the basic way of trying to explain it. If you're in the stock market, if you're in the financial markets, if you have a stock portfolio, if you own your home, you own multiple homes, you own a business, right? And you have very little debt, your wealth is increased. Your wealth is up. So I want to step back though, because what I don't want to do is this. I don't want to paint a narrative, because we're going to break this down in 3 parts. How we got here systematically, how we got here, where we're at now, and what we can do moving forward as a solution to move ourselves, as a community, all communities, to the next level. So let's go back to the early 1950s, the Great Depression. We're going to be giving some good game today. It was the Great Depression. The country was in shambles. I mean, people were jumping out of windows. It was ridiculous, right? So, and I'll also give Pew actually is outdated by a year or two. So I'll give the actual most recent one. But yeah, we'll make sure we give you guys all the stats. So the government and the government had to do something to jumpstart the economy after the Great Depression. And a good way to jumpstart the economy is for people to start buying homes and spending money. So home ownership at this point around the 1950s was very big. Imagine a scenario like this. Now, first off, what we have to understand, I want you guys to all look up, if you haven't heard, is the one drop rule. And there's a reason why I'm mentioning the one drop rule. The one, Gary knows what I'm talking about. The one drop rule is if you have one drop of African blood in you, just one, back in those days, you were considered black. So there was no Dominican, there was no Dominican, Venezuelan, Puerto Rican, none of that. You were either black or white, period. So there was no in between. So you have to understand what the mentality was back in those days of segregation, trying to separate things. So imagine a scenario where here you are, you want to own a home, right? You're black, according to the one drop rule. Whatever ethnicity you want to put yourself in, you're black. And you go to the bank. The bank manager says, we would love to give you a loan. However, due to something called redlining, you can also look up redlining if you'd like. Due to something called redlining, we can only offer you home ownership in certain neighborhoods. Now, how did they come up with these neighborhoods? They had a government team that basically got together and gave grades to certain neighborhoods, A, B, C, D, F. Black people in that era were only allowed to buy homes in D and F neighborhoods. So if you wanted to buy a home on the beach, no. If you want to buy a home in a suburban area, no. If you wanted to buy a home downtown, no. You had to buy a home only in the lowest. And guys, also understand, this is after the Tulsa Massacre in 1923. This is after Rosewood in 1921, right? They've already done the biggest damage they can possibly give. So we're talking about
about the Ocoee Massacre. Massacre. So many massacres that happened.
So many massacres prior to this, right? So this is even before all that. So imagine going to your bank manager. Your bank's telling you, well, look, here's this map, and you can only buy a house here, but you can't buy a house. Sorry, you can't buy a house anywhere over there. So you know what? You say, well, those are the rules, and those are the rules. Fine, I'll take a house there. Oh, by the way, the bank manager tells you, we don't give FHA loans for that area because it's it's a D or F neighborhood, so you can't. So we have to give you this predatory loan. A loan that probably has what is a predatory loan? A loan that probably has a 30% interest rate. Oh, and by the way, the bank manager told you we don't offer homeowners insurance in that area. So if you buy a home in that area, which is the only place you can buy a home, you can't get homeowners insurance. So if your house burns down, you're SHIT out of luck, and you still owe us our money.
Yep.
Now imagine that scenario. Plus, also imagine you might not even get approved for that, right? This is what we call the systematic laws being put in place back in the 1950s and 60s and prior to that really gave us a huge disadvantage. And when I say us, I mean everybody under the one drop rule, right? Gave everybody a huge disadvantage as far as accumulating wealth. These houses on the beach. Take a drive down to Hollywood Beach if you're living in South Florida. Sunny Isles. Those houses are old. They've been around since forever. They were able to buy those houses and pass them down from generation to generation. We weren't able to do that, right? Now, low-value homes, right, were not increasing in value. So they also gave incentives to the suburban areas and the whites in the suburban areas to not sell to anybody black. You get incentives, you get props, you get, whatever benefits, you get kickbacks. Do not sell this house to anybody black. So this is how things were up until 1968 when the Fair Housing Act was put in place. So think about it. Up until 1968, after the Fair Housing Act was signed, was really where the playing field was leveled. I'll put that in quotes because technically the playing field still wasn't level after that. But according to law, it was. So if you think about 1968, that was 56 years ago. So we've only had 56 years of fair and just and equal, right, opportunities to buy homes and accumulate our own wealth within that time. I know I'm saying a lot, so I'm gonna let you jump in. That's the first. This is the first segment, the first part of how we got here and the system to put in place to hold us back. Go ahead, G.
No, and listen, and listen, we could beat a dead horse if we want to, and I apologize for any animal lovers out there. I couldn't think of a different cliche to use. I don't want you to kill any horses, but listen, I just put a link in there for the Just Harvest book, right? I don't know if anybody's aware, right? But the largest settlement in civil rights history was $1.25 billion. And it was a black man, Greg Francis, who was actually one of the first black partners at Morgan & Morgan, right? And he won a $1.25 billion settlement for the black farmers, right? Because black farmers were also being given the same sort of mistreatment, right? Just like you talked about, Sid. Listen, if I have orange groves, right? And you burn down my orange groves, right? And let's say, okay, I realize I can no longer grow oranges on this farm because what I have done is I've just literally destroyed the soil, right? So now I sell that orange grove to some black farmer who just wants an opportunity to kind of do his own thing, right? But what I did was I just sold this man land that I cannot grow anything on, right? So now I'm tilling, I'm putting in all of the work because I got to get the soil back healthy again, right? So now for years and years and years, I'm trying to get this thing back healthy. Finally, I'm able to grow some crops on this land. And then what do? They come and they burn my shit down,
burn it down,
right? Again. Like, this is the cycle of what happens. And I'm not sitting here. I want to be very clear, right? What I'm not going to do is sit here and say the woe is me story about how slavery is still holding us down, right? But I want people to understand the facts around it, right? Most people only know the history that was taught in history class. Let me be clear. If that is the only history that you know, if you have done no research on your own, then you don't know shit about the history of America, right? And so you need to go back and you need to do your research as to how in the world can we possibly one.
Yes.
So I want to say, because I know we're going to transition into what is the solution, right? What do we do? But before we can get there, we have to know how we got here, right? You got to know the history of things, because if you don't understand the history of things, you're not going to be able to find the solution. You will become always a victim of the history of things.
Exactly.
So this is a widespread problem across all platforms. It's not just one occupation. It's not one small group. Understand how serious they were. The American government literally dropped a bomb on its own soil. It's the only time it's ever happened. When they did that in the Tulsa, when they tried to destroy Black Wall Street.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. So these are real things that have happened, right? And we have to do this. We have to do better with overcoming these obstacles, but we have to know what these obstacles are.
Yeah, because what we don't want is for the younger generation to say, well, Ma, why didn't Grandma pass you down the house? But this people, there's reasons why to that, right? So now what we don't want to do, we also want to figure out ways to overcome this. Remember, it's only been 56 years. 56 years since the Fair Housing Act was signed. So what can we do in the present day? And I know I got a lot of mortgage brokers in the building. Hopefully Joe Hunter, my man RJ, is in the building. Shout out to K Smalls in the building, man. Doing big things with the real estate market. We, right, as a community, right, need to take advantage of some of the things that are afforded to us. So you can't blame, right, the white community, Asian community for everything. Home ownership, right, is one of the biggest ways that you can close the wealth gap, right? Home ownership, I'm going to give you guys some stats on home ownership, right? Home ownership these stats are as of 2022. 73%, right, of the white community has owned home ownership as of 2023. 73%. 47% of the Hispanic community has home ownership, but only 42% of the Black community, right? At the end of the day, folks, I know right now interest rates are high, right? And it's very, very difficult to own a home, but it is the biggest way, right, to accumulate wealth. Own a home, pass it down, right? Pass it down to your kids. Don't be so quick to sell. I mean, again, take a drive down Hollywood Beach, Sunny Isles, and some of these beaches. See some of these homes that have been passed down since the 1940s, 50s, 60s, just accumulating wealth. Those people bought that home thinking to themselves, I don't ever want my great grandchildren to ever have to pay a mortgage, so they can use that money to start a business or to do something else. We're also going to talk about the stock market, and I hope Frost, I hope you're in the building. Oscar, I hope you're in the building. My two stock experts. Here are very, very, very concerning statistics around the stock market. As of today, 66% of the white community is in the stock market, but only 39% of the Black community and 28% of the Hispanic community, right? Very, very disturbing numbers around things that we can do in order to close the gap. And listen, I know everybody's not comfortable with owning stocks in the stock market. I know everybody's not comfortable with playing around with their money, but owning a stock, being involved in the stock, you could do something even as conservative as just investing in the S&P 500. If you don't know what the S&P 500 is, look up. It's basically investing in a portfolio that has 500 large public companies, and it goes up, down, but you're probably guaranteed a 10% return year over year, no matter what, if you just invest in the S&P 500, right? So those are some ways that we can close the gap and close this wealth gap that's so broad. Go ahead, bro.
And I just want to throw it out there, right? Mm-hmm. Listen, some people get locked in on like the name brand stocks, right? Mm-hmm. You might not be able to go and buy Apple stock right now. Maybe you don't have enough money to really fairly play around with something like an Apple stock, or mm-hmm. And Sid, you could probably name some other more well-known stocks that are going to cost a lot per share, right? Yeah. But there's so much information out there, and there are so many organizations that are geared towards providing free support and free information. So you could say, hey, listen, these are some stocks that you need to look at investing in. I look at it, and I look at it really simply, right? If you need it in your everyday life, why wouldn't you invest in it? You know what I'm saying? If you need it in your everyday life, why wouldn't you invest in it?
Oh, wow. Huge. Oh, wow.
I want to definitely, and I'm going to let you mention that.
But wow, that's huge. Breaking news.
Hold on one second, Sid.
I'm messing with you. Go ahead.
I want to throw something out here, right? Because there's an article, and I'm going to put it in the chat, right? This was an article that I kind of came across when we were talking about this topic, right?
Okay.
Here's why this article was interesting to me, right? So first of all, shout out. If you don't know this, most states, right, have, well, at least at they used to have an institute for economic equity, right? I'm sure that Ron DeSantis would kill that if it was in Florida, but they're trying to look at, give and provide data. So the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis had an article back in February. Mm-hmm. And here's what they talked about. They talked about the key takeaways for the third quarter of 2023, right? Mm-hmm. Which meant this was up until September 30th of 2023, right? There were a couple of very key categories, right? So it says, what is the current generational wealth gap, right? So I want to give a shout out. We give these young people a hard time, right? But one thing I want to give a shout out to is, based on the numbers, younger Americans, meaning millennials and Gen Zers, they own $1.33 for every $1 of wealth that was actually owned by Gen Xers at the same age, right? So the younger generation is actually finding a way to make more money than we. What I would love for that number to be is not $1.33. I'd love for it to be $2 for every dollar, right? But listen, we're making it there, right? Younger Americans, millennials, and Gen Zers, they have $1.21 for every $1 of wealth owned by the baby boomers at the same age. Okay.
Good stuff.
Then you have the current racial wealth gap. Black families owned about 24 cents for every $1 of white family wealth on average. 24 cents for every $1 of white family wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Hispanic families have about 19 cents for every $1 of white family wealth on average.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to make sure that we're having an honest conversation about the disparity, right? Because it seems like even though we're making more and more money, the gap is getting wider and wider, and that's what I want people to understand more than anything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about what is the current wealth gap by household education,
Mm-hmm.
families headed by someone with some college education, but they don't have a 4-year degree, had 31 cents for every $1 of wealth held by families headed by a 4-year college graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Families headed by someone with a high school diploma had 22 cents for every $1 of wealth held by families headed by a 4-year college graduate.
So break that down. That you're basically saying that people with a college education, a 4-year degree, have a better opportunity at accumulating wealth. Is that what that's saying? Just want to kind of break it down for them.
Yes, because I wanted to get to it. Basically, the more education you have, right, the more money that you're. If the head of the household has an education, it doesn't necessarily mean everybody in the household, but if the head of your household, the more education the head of your household has, the more money that household tends to earn. So if I had a high school diploma, right, my family would have on average 9 cents for every $1 of a college graduate's household, right?
Mm-hmm.
9 cents for every dollar. So you talked about how do we close the gap, right? Another way to closing that gap is education, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a 4-year college or a 4-year degree. If you're going to go learn a trade and you're going to open your own business at some point, then that's a phenomenal way to kind of do some things. We're getting back to that stage where owning businesses is a thing, right? That was the baby boomers. The baby boomers were owning their own businesses, right? So I just wanted to piggyback on the fact that a lot of the information that you are sharing is 100% accurate. And once again, it's a widespread problem and it's a widespread conversation.
Exactly. It is. And one thing I want to definitely say before I get into another stat that's really huge as far as accumulating wealth, generational wealth, because now we're going to talk about generational wealth, is the number one reason why the Asian community has $536,000 in wealth on average, and they said the number one reason is because of education. So they have higher education. So I want to make sure we make that stat. I think another thing we need to start discussing in our community, in all communities, is passing down inheritances, passing down things to our kids, thinking long term, right? If you look yourself in the mirror, right, and you ask yourself, what am I going to leave my kids when I pass away? Am I just going to hand them a stack of bills, leave them a stack of bills and a funeral bill and a lucky watch or something? Or am I going to give them something tangible, something real that I can give my kids that they can give to their grandkids and they can give to their grandkids? But let me give you some very, very interesting stats, right? White families are substantially more likely to pass down inheritances and support than Black and Latin families. Here's some stats you want to see. You want to hear about the difference between the races as far as receiving an inheritance. Now, what is an inheritance? An inheritance is your mama left you a house that's already paid off. Your mama left you a business. Your mama handed you a stock portfolio with 100 stock, Amazon stock, with 100 Amazon stock, 100 Apple stock, whatever, right? That maybe gave you $500,000. Life insurance, something tangible, right, that you can pass down. 30% of the white community has said they've received an inheritance. 30%, a third of the white community. That's huge. Only 10% of the Black community has said that they've received an inheritance from their mother, from their parents or grandparents. And only 7% of the Hispanic community has said that they received an inheritance from their parent or grandparent. Now, here's the most disturbing part as well. The percent of the people who actually expect an inheritance, meaning when my parents move on, I'm actually waiting, there's going to be a lawyer who's going to knock on my door and hand me a bag of money, right? These are disturbing stats, right? only seven. Now all the numbers are low, so this is not a racial thing. This is an overall thing. Only 17% of the white community said they are expecting something.
Right.
Only 6% of the black community and only 4% of the Hispanic community are basically saying we're expecting to have something. Listen, guys, we got to have a tough conversation around, it's always one big joke. When I die, just cremate me and throw me in the middle of the ocean or whatever. And by the way, I got 80 bills and credit card companies coming after me. I got a stack of bills waiting. It's always one big joke, but this is how we also can accumulate generational wealth and accumulate wealth, handing down something to your kids that they can hand down to their grandkids and and so on. Something tangible, something real, not a watch or a chain, right? Something real, right? Home ownership, a piece of land, whatever it is. If you look yourself in the mirror right now and you're 40 and up with kids, I'm in that group, and you look yourself in the mirror and say, if I pass away now, I got nothing to leave them. I have absolutely nothing to leave them. You have cut off another generation of wealth that your kids are going to have to take on moving forward. So that's also huge. People, we got to have serious conversations about passing on generational wealth through different tangible things. So
listen, and if Mr. Daily Insight were here, I know that the first thing he would have done is talked about life insurance, right?
Yes.
And so at the end of the day, I understand that many of us live check to check, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can have that conversation on the pod one day soon.
Yes.
Which is living check to check is really like that's a you problem, right? Yeah. You're living beyond your means.
That's got nothing to do with what happened in 1968. I tell you that.
You are living beyond your means. I know you want to live in a nice house, right? But if you don't have enough income to pay for that nice house, don't be house poor, right? Mm-hmm. Don't be in a situation where you don't have $10 to go to Chipotle if you need to and get you something to eat.
Or no money to even buy any stocks. But go ahead.
So at the end of the day, right, listen, if you don't do anything else, right, make sure you have a life insurance policy. I know a lot of people get it through their jobs, but when you leave that job, then you don't have anything. And then you got to hope and pray that your next company has a good policy for you to get, right? There are life insurance policies for you to get that are affordable, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't get anything more than $10,000 or $20,000 worth of coverage, right, then what you should be doing is just finding something so that at the very least, right, don't leave your spouse or your children trying to figure out how to pay $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 just to cremate you.
Exactly.
Most people don't even understand that cremation right now is almost a $20,000 process when it comes to people passing away, right? Wow. It costs money because especially if you're still having a funeral, right? You want that person to be in a casket for the sake of the funeral and everything else. You have to pay for that casket that body goes in, right? Mm-hmm. And then you still have to pay for the process of the cremation. It is an expensive process. Most people don't understand that if you are overweight and you are extremely large, they actually charge you extra for extra large coffins, right? Little things like that cost these funeral homes money, and they're going to charge you for it, right?
Exactly.
So even if it's not, hey, I got a job where I can leave my family $150,000 or whatever it is, even if it's I can afford to leave my family a house, get an insurance policy, get something that leaves your family with something that makes their life a little bit easier when you are leaving, when you leave them behind. Exactly. Shout out to the comments, right?
Yeah, get your great comments.
Planning done now, right? Listen, get an LLC, do something to protect your assets for both you and your family, right? Exactly. If you are the head of a household and you're not thinking about these things at all, right, then you are failing your family. You are
exactly.
failing your family. Yeah. Get some insurance, get your estate planning done, do what is in your best interest, right? And if you are not the head of your household, but you are someone in a household, then you need to be telling the head of the household, hey, what is going on? Because make sure you share that information with the people involved.
Yeah, man.
They need to know what's coming to them in advance too. They shouldn't be in the blind because you could sit up there and they never get notification of what is supposed to be coming their way as well.
Exactly.
Be responsible
Yeah. Hey, man, it's good. We're getting to the 1 o'clock hour. So let me tell you guys what we stand on, man. Hopefully, we gave you guys some good game. Hopefully, you guys learned something. The history behind it. This is not a blame the white man session. This is a how do we get here, but what can we do moving forward to fix this in our generation? And when I say our generation, I mean if you are between the age, I would say of 35 and 45, you don't have any excuses, right? The excuses are over with. The stock market is not being limited by anybody. When one stock goes up, we all win, right? The housing market is not being limited by anybody. So here's what I stand on. Some opportunities. Here's some ways you can start accumulating generational wealth. I'll make it really quick. Invest in real estate. We've already talked about that. We beat that to it. We basically beat a dead horse. Invest in the financial markets. Listen, if you are 25 and under, right, or 30 and under right now listening to me, the 30 and under crowd, invest in the stock market. The biggest mistake I ever made was getting the stock market too late. Shout out to my man Tony Wall Street in the building. I think Money Mike's in here as well. Madeline, tell Tony Wall Street I said what up, man. I got a jewel for him in a second. We just got some breaking news on a stock being split 50-1, but we'll explain that in a second. Get involved in the financial markets. You don't have to risk it all. S&P 500, do something a little conservative, a Roth IRA. Let me explain something to you. I'm gonna give you one last stat. 30%, only 4% of the black wealth is in the stock market. 4% of that's ridiculous. That means we're not in the stock market at all. And the Hispanic number wasn't even on the board. So I guess the Hispanic is way less than that. That is really, we have to do better with that. Invest in education. Put your kids in a position where they don't have to take out student loans if possible, right? If they don't have loans, they get a head start of not having to take out, not having to pay back Uncle Sam for the next 15, 20 years, and they can use that money to invest in something else. Talk to your kids about money. Talk to your kids about credit. Talk to your kids about the stock market. Get them involved early. As soon as they're able to open up an E-Trade account, open one for them, let them play around with it, right? Let them learn it, because guess what? When they get to be in their 40s and 50s, they'll be the ones retiring early. And last but not least, hang on to your assets. Don't be so quick to sell your house. Don't be so quick to sell your business. Hang on to it. I guarantee if you go to Zillow, some of these houses have been around since the 1930s and they're never selling it outside their bloodline. And that's what we as a community start doing. We're not selling. Hand that house down to your child. Tell your child you're never going to have to pay a mortgage, right? You get a head start better than I did because I'm going to hand you this house. So here's what I stand on. Let's start having the conversations. Let's start having the uncomfortable conversations. I'll say it once again. If you are 35 and up, look yourself in the mirror. You have kids, look yourself in the mirror when you leave this podcast and say, do I have anything I am going to leave my kids tangible if I pass away? If the answer is no, let's get to it. Let's get started, man. You got it, G.
Listen, standing on it big time. But listen, South Florida City is in his bag today.
Yeah, I'm in my bag today, man. Shout out to Viv, man. I don't know if I could be a professor. I don't know about that, but I appreciate the love.
Listen, you definitely will listen. First of all, you already are a professor, right? Let's throw that out there. Listen, we're not going to limit the title to somebody that's getting paid by one of these institutions.
What up, cuz? Thanks for joining, man. What's up, cuz? Thank you for joining. My bad.
Let me just say this, right? And because I'm not, like I said, South Florida Sid is in the bag, and he's actually said so much that there's a little left. But what I will say is, if you can hear our voices and you're saying to yourself, yeah, that's cool, they talking that shit, but everybody can't do it, I will tell you that you're wrong, right? I am someone who is basically, me and my family live on my income, and my wife has her business, but we live off of my income right now, right? I have 3 kids. I have a family of 5, right? 2 kids, twins that were in college at the same time, right? My kids do not have a single loan, right? My son got a football scholarship, and listen, at the end of the day, when he decided to switch schools, the scholarship was gone, right? And my wife and I found a way to make sure that we were supporting him so that he did not graduate with any debt. My daughter's about to graduate on May 4th, and she's not going to have any debt. And that is the blessing of all blessings. Nice. So now, even if I couldn't leave them a single penny, I've given them a head start by just not having any debt walking into their own adult life, right? Mm-hmm. Do your best to be the best version of a household leader that you can be, right? Talk to your kids. We don't have We don't have these conversations in the Black household and the Hispanic household enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are sitting up here and we live in a world where everybody's divided. We want to come up with every reason why we're different than the next person. Collaboration is going to be the key to everything. You might not be able to do it by yourself. Find a group of people that you really can rock with, that you can trust. Get a company going. Do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what it is. Figure out how you can increase your income and put you and your family in a better situation. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, right, what we need to be doing, right, is we need to be doing whatever it is that is within our grasp, right? Do what is within your grasp. And at that time, it sounds like that is divine nature blowing your stats away.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, stand on something. So here's what I stand on.
My bad.
Right? Do what you can within your reach. Because if you start with the small things now, those things will turn into bigger things later. Right?
Yeah, great stuff.
Group economics is definitely a huge thing,
Yeah,
right?
man.
We got to continue to build. And if we don't do it, then we're going to die separated, isolated, and lacking. Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
Do what is in the best interest of the family, of the community, and the next generation. Leave this place better than when you found it. And that's what I stand on. Period.
Hey, man, great stuff, man. We've been getting a lot of good love from people saying they enjoyed the show today. One nugget we want to give everybody, that's breaking news. Apparently, Chipotle, if I'm saying it right, sorry to my Spanish community, Chipotle stock is going to split at 50-1, which just real quick, what that means is if you buy it now, and as soon as it splits, you get 50 shares for every one that you buy. So get in now. Madeline, if you hear me, tell my man Tony Wall Street to holler at me. We got to get in on this. But everybody should be getting in on it, right? 50 shares for everyone. It's splitting. And so Google
$58 a share right now. $58 a share right now.
Yeah, man. Go get on that. So at the end of the day, man, this is the type of information we should be sharing. And hey, let's get on it. But hey, thank you for joining.
Don't buy any weed this week. Go buy the Chipotle stock.
Yeah, exactly. Go buy the Chipotle stock. Hey, listen, guys. Thank you for joining the podcast, man. We appreciate it. Tell one friend. That's all we ask. Listen, we're up to 250 subscribers, man. So we got a lot of good people, man, joining the show. Our views have been way, way up. We really, really appreciate you guys tuning in to us.
Love y'all and appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, go ahead, G. I don't know if you have any final thoughts, any final thing you want to say to the crowd before
man, I know that everybody listen. I know my wife is waiting on me to go clean up the bathrooms and do the honeydew list, right? So all I want to say is thank you. Mm-hmm. I want to say go do your household chores. If you weren't doing it while you were listening to us, go do them now. And when you're finished, reward yourself with a glass of Gibbs Reserve. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, let's start the week off strong. Let's finish it stronger, right?
Yes.
Everybody in here, if you are listening to us, then I know that means that you want more than what you got, right? So let's do something to make it. Let's do something this week to make life better than what it was last week.
Yeah,
and that's
man.
all I stand on right there, brother.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you, everybody.
On the way out too.
Yeah, Anil, DJ, everybody who's been Vivian, everybody who was. I'm sorry if I can't see everybody in the YouTube portion of it, on the Facebook portion, but thank you to everybody for joining. Hey, do us a favor. If you love us, man, send the podcast to one friend. That's all we ask. Send it to one friend and let them know, hey, man, these guys are really putting in game, putting in work. So we appreciate it.
And we out.